It has been 1 year since we've used Tinyman. That's right. This is a first for the channel because it's our first 1 year review of an Algorand project. Check it out today on today's Frugal VC. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Frugal BC. That's right, we have our very first 1 year review. I don't think we've done another 1 year review on any project that we've covered here. As you know, original point of this channel is that we're trying to do the experiment so that you can see how these things really work, the good, the bad, and everything in between, because we just want to give you the accurate information. So that's my whole goal on this channel. That's what I do, and it's been a year. It's been almost a year since I started using Tinyman. So we're jumping the gun a little bit, but I don't think much is going to change in a month. So I want to show you guys how things have gone in a year. There's been a lot of changes, some ups and downs with Tinyman. So there's some good. There really is some good, bad, and ugly with Tinyman. It's still the top DEX out there. We're going to look at the data on that. And we're just going to dive into Tinyman and tell you all about it. So before we do that, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. So you can see all our reviews. We do reviews on stuff because our whole goal is just to show you what this stuff is all about and how it's going. One of the frustrations I had when I got into crypto is I saw so many videos that were all about hype and they didn't really tell you all the things you needed to know. So my goal is to do that for you and try to bring more honesty into crypto. So let's check this out. Tinyman, we reviewed it almost a year ago. It was actually late November, I think, when we did our first review. And first we should talk about what Tinyman is. So Tinyman is a DEX on the Algorand blockchain. It was the first DEX where you could swap one asset for another. This is a super important part of the Algorand ecosystem. Really, really important to have that. And before that, there just wasn't a lot you could do with it. Now, it's interesting. We're going to talk about some of the mechanisms behind Tinyman. There's so many different things to do right now. You know, farming is one of Tinyman's best features. We'll talk about that, and that's a new-ish thing. Probably about halfway into the year review, they added that. Before, when it first started out, adding liquidity pools was probably its best thing. I look back at my videos, and that was like the first thing you could do. You know, you could provide liquidity, and then you would make money on the fees. And as more and more people got into that, that really didn't become lucrative, helpful, but not necessarily lucrative. And so Tinyman added farms, which are probably one of my favorite DeFi things to do. But let's kind of tell the story. You know, they went live late last year, and they're in the full year, and they had the exploit right around the first of the year. It was kind of a big deal. All everyone was talking about. I did tons of videos on that about the exploit. I think they overall handled it pretty well. Some people might disagree with that. It took a while. It took them about, if I recall, about a month to get things back up and running. And they were really careful this time to make sure it wasn't going to get exploited. So what happened is hackers ended up getting about $3 million in Go ETH and Go Bitcoin. And I don't know if that was ever recovered. I tried to research to find out what happened, or I tried to look for the wallet address if someone had posted it, and I couldn't find it. So I didn't see if that money was sitting there, but it appeared at the time. I know reports about a month after this happened said that most of that Go Bitcoin was still sitting in the original wallet that hacked it. So they apparently weren't able to do anything with it, which is good. I don't know if that's still the case or what's going on with that. But basically everyone had to remove their liquidity pools. And there was a compensation program once they went live again after they'd gone through the second round of auditing, this time checking for things that were not caught the first time. Basically, someone was able to go out and withdraw funds that weren't theirs. That's what happened. So it's been pretty smooth sailing since then. As far as I know, there has not been any major outages since then. And the compensation program you could get, I know I received some stuff through the compensation program. It's one of the minor things I don't like about the new site once they came back is before it would open in the same tab when you went to the app, and now it opens in a separate tab, and it seems to be something a lot of people do. I just don't, why is that necessary? I don't need both open, right? So just open in the same tab, but no, otherwise it's not really that big a deal. The feature I like most about Tinyman right now is that they've added staking since last March, and eventually that became farms. In fact, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at my farm page right now. Okay, so this is the farm page. It was staking at first, then they changed it to farming, which probably makes a little more sense. These are the current offerings: the Cosmic Algo, the headline algo, or the two that I'm in. I just joined the headline algo. They just added that pretty recently. Now, this was one of the smarter things. I'm going to show you this. This is one of the smart things. So originally this was supposed to end much sooner than this. It started September 15th, but very smartly, they extended this pool through the end of the year. Now, why is that smart? Because Algorand Governance now has a liquidity program where you can use LP programs to participate in governance. So it makes sense, and I was surprised I didn't see more people doing this, but maybe it would have taken more time to implement than they had. But Tinyman did pull this off, and this is great because now you can keep these LPs, in this case, the Cosmic Champs Algo one, and you're able to keep it locked into the smart contract and be earning on it while also participating in governance, which is awesome. So like I said, I'm really surprised more protocols didn't do this. A lot of them ended way before the governance program would be ended. They could have done so afterwards as well, but I kept thinking like, well, am I going to participate? Because I don't want to just hold these LPs without staking them somewhere. But this allows you to earn about 45% between the two. This one gives you 23% in Cosmic, and also something like that, something close to that, like 20 some percent in Algo, for a total of about 45% between the two, something around that. And I've been doing really well. This is more than the staking amount for Algo, because I've been continually adding to it, both just from funds from fiat sources, as I get paid, I've been adding more in, but also daily compounding, just pulling up the rewards. And they've had a few. I've participated in 7, but what's cool, here's what I like about this. You can see your farm positions, participated in 7 total, and this is how much I've received from the farming rewards. And this is the amount that I have in there now. That's the most I've ever committed to any of these. Most of the time it was closer to a few $100s. This one's in the thousands, and over 1,000. I think it said 1,400 in the Cosmic Algo pool. And then every day you can see how much you're earning every day, because the pending reward. So today was about $1.70 between the 3. Most of that is Cosmic Algo, because I only have a small amount in the headline. And then you claim it right here. The one thing that I don't like is that Cometa really set the tone, because on Cometa you have like an automatic compounding, which I think is great. They don't have that on Tinyman. Kind of a bummer, but overall, very happy with this. Again, this is a great place to go swap. There's other places now, and we'll talk about that in a second. And generally, I like the UI with this. I think it's pretty easy to use. The only thing I would like, so just to be clear, if I want to auto compound, what I would do is I would go to the pool, hit manage, add, and then usually there would be a higher amount in here because I just received some, or either from the pool or from my Cosmic Champs NFT. And then I would pair that, add it, and then you have to go back to the farms and update it. As you can see, I didn't do that, in fact, so I'm going to show you one right now. This morning I claimed it, but I didn't re-up. So you have to update your commitment every time you do this. So I'm just going to do this really quick. It's 1406 versus 1404 or whatever it was. So I always keep a little bit of algo in there just to make sure I have it. But yeah, there's the updated amount, and you have to do that for all. I'll do the rest later. I won't make you sit through that. But Tinyman farming has been one of my favorite. It's pretty consistent. I think the returns seem to be pretty accurate. That can be a problem. Like Yieldy, I had a problem with it not being very accurate. And some of these pay really well. Not as well as some of the other ones, but they're actually accurate. So I actually believe them. They had an Opal algo, one from Opulus and Algo that was really great. And then USDC Algo, they pretty much had this one the entire time. Getting 10% in farming plus the pool amount. So this is great. This has been a solid one. It seems to almost always be available. It does say after party, so I think it's an extra one, but I don't know. I hope they extend that. Now, what do I like about it? I think the yields are solid, and like I said, they're actually the amounts that they say. Really good design. You can see how much they're worth. Pretty easy to use, but like I said, not as slick as Cometa, and I think they actually could improve. They could improve it so it's more of a auto restaking, that kind of thing, or auto compounding would be great. But it's not the biggest deal, and it's earning pretty well. And I like the legibility of it. I like that you can see how much you're earning every day. There's Cometa does that too, to an extent. And there's not a lot of dexes that are doing that, or farming programs that are doing that. And like I said, since March, there's always been one available. So very cool. No, it's cool is Tinyman. Now, Tinyman is the first, and that has a huge effect. And I want to show you guys some stuff because it's surprisingly is they've really held on to the market share. Okay, so this is taken from Block Rank, which has there's the series of 2 Medium posts, and I recommend reading both of them. If you go to Block Rank on Twitter, they have a link to this, or you can go to Medium/Block Rank, and you'll find this one. Probably search for this guy Davis Weaver too. He'll probably do it, and he really crunched some numbers. But the thing that really stuck out to me, a couple things. One, this is the market share, so you can see, of course, in the beginning, it actually started in October, so I'm probably not far off from our 1-year review, until a couple other ones came into the scene, like Humble, Pact, and AlgoFi. Now, this one on the left. This is the percentage of trading volume, and they're still well over 50%. They still have half of all of the 4. Tinyman still takes up half, and all the other 3 share the other half. And then when it comes to active accounts, they're actually quite higher. And, oh yeah, user loyalty. This is really interesting. And this chart is kind of hard to read, but basically, exclusively using one protocol, Tinyman has that way above everyone else. So they got way more loyalty. There's way more loyalty on Tinyman than anyway. Around 80% of Tinyman's traders never use any other exchange. In contrast, less than 20% of Pact and Humble's users are exclusive. AlgoFi falls in the middle, with around 50% of their users exclusively relying on them for trading. Yeah, that's a really big deal. When it comes to power users, that's a little different. AlgoFi has a lot of loyal power users, followed by Tinyman, and then the other 2. Yeah, comparing, I've done videos on all 3 of those other ones. Humble has been like the worst one for me. It's sped up a little bit. It was really slow in the beginning, which is weird because they billed themselves as the fastest one, and it seemed to be the slowest from my perspective. But also like it's just not working. I can't actually access it, any of the funds. I can get into it. I've tried unconnecting and reconnecting my wallet, and it simply does not recognize the coins that are in my wallet. So I've even tried it as recently as a week ago just to see if it was still the case. And it just says 0, where I know I have those LPs in there. And it was frustrating because I was farming Algo and Alchemon coin, which should have been, and I was getting this Alchemon every week. So I wanted to like up the stake, and it wouldn't let me. Even though I was in the pool, it wouldn't recognize any of my new stuff. It was really frustrating. So I used PacFi once, and I probably have some stuff on there too. I should probably check into it. And then AlgoFi, I did a little bit of the lending, but I just didn't really see much point in getting like a few percent when there's plenty of other ways to get higher percentages. Yeah, so I guess that wraps up my review. Oh, one other thing I was going to point to, in fact, the doxing team, very important to this channel. And I know they exist because one of the main guys is going to be at Decipher, but I really think it's important for teams to put that up. There should be a team button on the main web page, which there's not. If I missed it, let's just go through it again. Careers, community. There's other stuff, but that's not the team. Nothing there. Just looking through. I've looked through this. I've looked through learning more about Tinyman. Frequently asked questions. I want a team right on the front page, and I'm not gonna back down from that. One thing, communication is really important in crypto. And so one of my biggest frustrations is not just putting stuff straight up on your website. And team should definitely be on there. So there's blog, frequently asked questions, documentation, brand assets, add your project's icon, GitHub, Reddit. This is all social media, but nowhere about team. Nothing here about team. I did, however, find Tinyman on LinkedIn. There are 3 people, a CFO. They all appear to be in Turkey. There's a builder designer and a project manager. But so they're on here somewhere, but no team listed. And I just think you should definitely list your team. It's super important. And I'm not going to stop harping on it, frankly. After Algorand, just not going to stop harping on it. So does that make me not want to use Tinyman? No, but it also, it's something important, and I'm going to keep pushing for it. Again, I've said this before, but there's a company called Citrus that will do verification for you to do the due diligence to make sure you are who you say you are, and you do have a team. You're not just some rando scammer. Now, obviously, a company of this size is not going to be a scammer, but Citrus allows people to have that greater level of trust, because we need to build that trust in crypto. That's it. Overall, Tinyman is still my go-to DEX, and I guess I'm one of those users. I do have accounts on other, but I wouldn't say I'm active on any of those other platforms. Tried Humble. I gave it a shot a couple times, and they just let me down. Tinyman has been working. The exploit was a bummer. You know, that was hard to believe. That was almost a year. It was like 10 months ago. It was almost a year ago. So much stuff seems to have happened since, and they've got competitors, but they seem to be holding off those competitors, so good for them. Overall, big fan of Tinyman. I like it. I want to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think about Tinyman? Am I off my rocker for really going after the team thing? I really think the team should be on there. That's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think. What's your favorite DEX? And as always, we'll see you in the future.